The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word Heimdall somewhere. Rows and rows of Heimdall men blur your vision. You make out some titles: Man from Heimdall and the Mammoth Riders, Man from Heimdall, Return to Heimdall, and the solipsistic Man from Heimdall and the Heimdall Man. Maybe 100. Man from Heimdall and the Sages at the End of the World, Man from Heimdall and the False God, Man from Heimdall and the Scorched Earth, Man from Heimdall, the Heimdall Colonies, Man from Heimdall and the Swamp Beast, Man from Heimdall and the Snow Crabs. Not even close. Man from Heimdall in Hell, Man from Heimdall and the Forest of Slaves, Man from Heimdall under the lake, Man from Heimdall, Heimdall burning. There's even The Trial of Death, a pastoral combat game book set in the world of Heimdall Man, and so much more. A twinge at the back of your head makes you flinch. Your eye starts twitching. Your hand reaches toward a book with glossy cover art of the very muscular Man from Heimdall in chains, kneeling in front of a staircase leading to a throne. A woman sits on the throne, leering at the man. Between the throne and the Heimdall Man lies a bonfire, casting shadows on the wall. The shadow of the woman's headdress looks like a pair of devil horns. The title reads, Man from Heimdall and the Devil Woman. The display rack before you is burdened under piles of Man from Heimdall novels.
Oh, Man from Heimdall. A very popular series of adventure novels. They're awfully immoral and violent books. Blood and violence, scantily clad women, epic narratives, all those mystical things he encounters. They're bound to grab those with little imagination and nothing to do. At last, someone sensible. However, I still urge you to buy one. Can't judge a book by the cover, they say. If you're a novice of the series, I'd recommend Heimdall Man, the Man from Heimdall. It's supposed to be a good introduction to the series.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise. An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a pick-your-path adventure game book titled Tales of Wirral, Cavern of Velkrag. Books in a board game section? Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 real.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Browbritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Don't be so hard on yourself, sir. You just need to clean up a bit. And technically, friends are a bit like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 rial. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen over and over. Crime fiction is a disgrace, an asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work of actual police officers. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during the worst days of their lives. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf? You see Dick Mullen on the job. Get Me Mullen. The Stalwart Adventures of Richard P. Mullen. Dick Mullen and the Murder in the Orchard. The Sordid Affair of Dick Mullen. A killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the murder house. The final case of Dick Mullen. An obvious lie. Dick Mullen in the clock tower. The ordeals of Dick Mullen. Dauntless Dick. Dick Mullen's funeral pyre. The murder of Dick Mullen. Oh no, turns out he faked it to solve a case. Yes, there's also the dame who did it. Farewell, my Mullen. Faking death seems to be a common trope in the Mullen series. The morbid tales of Dick Mullen. A dark tide turns. Tragedy calls for Dick Mullen. Another one with fake death. And, of course, Dick Mullen, the murderer. In order to catch a murderer, Dick Mullen must become the murderer. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that matters. Who is Dick Mullen?
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out. You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic hard-boiled phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend and has just a few days to prove his innocence. Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals? Then this is the book for you. The plaque on the shelf reads, Biographies of Famous People. You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell. Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these seem important or relevant. It's all just vapid egoism. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High-Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook. High-Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane graces the cover. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other. Next to that, Revacholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a run-down drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse though, but not too long. I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce. I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool, delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power. A very influential historical figure, but surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education. The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the innocentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things. Perhaps for a layman, deep analysis is necessary to peel back the multi-layered meanings.
Do her words seem vague and abstract to you?
Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one? Definitely. It's important somehow. There's something personal inside. Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinaise. This large map displays archipelagos. You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. The largest in the northeast is La Caillou. You are here. Another far away in the southwest, Seminese Islands, Ile de Fantôme. Ozon, Laurentide, Face à la Mer, Archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, all just specks of dust on the vastness of the Insulindic. On the edges of the map, the color fades into a blur of dotted lines, black and white. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. It's you. You can, on Caillou, Revachol, a single black star, on Ozon, Fondelier, and Vilmandoux, on archipelagos, Croyan Moran, Villiers, on Seminine, Olduvai, and on Laurentide, Deora of the Seven Seas. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world of culture and commerce torn apart by history. The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing into pale nothingness. Mwindi is the north azimuth. Grad is the northeast azimuth. Samara is the east azimuth. Seo is the west azimuth. Isolas, they're called. Connections to other worlds, words past the Insulindian, unknown to you. You only know you've never been there. You have little idea what they are. distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel almost non-existent. Whatever they are, the Isolas are immeasurably large compared to you, and very, very far away. Perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center, teeming with life forms and construction. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. This is Revachol East. Hudon, it's somewhere to live, not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forburg. It's almost as bad and much larger. Then Coal City. It's the worst. It's so small you can't even see it on the map. No, wait. There it is, north of Jamrock, the strip of coast next to the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour. It looks downright despondent. It's almost Coal City, to be honest. No, this is somewhere to be. This is all you have. But it's still something. Streets and sodium lights, the sky, the world. You're still alive. It's not really a map. It's a tourist thing. A picture postcard with buildings on it, drawn from an isometric perspective. A date in the upper right corner says 48. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead. You see the jagged boxes of an industrial harbour, even the whirling in rags there.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, you could scarcely afford them. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. That old thing? It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location that never was nor came to be. From when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue, set up those coin-operated viewers, and designed the new street lamps. They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinez up. All these ruins are bad for business.
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. It's about wholeness, unity, balance. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access to paid health services. It serves platitudes, while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to and which costs more than this book, is garbage and would only give you cancer anyway, without even curing your cold or anything. Wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. Though it is important to note, when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill in the first place. The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. How to continue drinking if you're an alcoholic who has destroyed his liver. And there's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder preservatives to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Pre and post factum apply. Nothing worth buying.
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. have you end up, like, opening a police store next door and stealing my customers? Oh no!
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only.
You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head with empty eye sockets stares at you. This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck, bad dreams, curses, and other supernatural scourges. Inhabitants of Île de Fantôme, the Seminine Islands down south. Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. The curtains remain shut before you.
Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books? The books are all you care about.
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you, urging you to buy more books. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner cries out once more.
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're done if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences. It's too dangerous.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
Why? It's not like anyone was killed there. I am sorry. I don't mean to be so impolite. Just please don't go there. I can't allow that. You'll only make things worse and unleash the powers. You do? My God. Even more reasons not to mess with the curtains. Just step away, dear sir. No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before you decide to do anything extreme.
The curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you.
Welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Plaisance. Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture. I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. I don't understand why it's so important to you. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books. You're supposed to be drawn to the books. It's just for decoration. Okay, fine. It's just because this place is cursed, just like everyone said. They don't call it the doomed commercial area for nothing. Are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything? The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. But officer, there's nothing natural about entire companies declaring bankruptcy. I'm talking about cacodemons feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income statements. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie, lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void wraiths angers them.
Wow. Void raves. You have new words.
Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists, and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans, with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's most certainly not. I don't want anyone who's not familiar with the psychic arts to get involved in this mess. Stay away. Leave the spirits be, so they can return to their slumber. Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post doing her job like a proper girl? Wonderful! Did you talk to her? Great! On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her? My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette. As a young girl should be, with the proper attitude, she'll have a bright financial future.
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she...
Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go! Get back there. The book, everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you, don't they?
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved. Slither up to her, you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
Are you sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no paradetective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker. Pardon me for being so blunt, but...
Hey now, hey. You need the booze to focus, all right? The lieutenant keeps his usual stony calm. He silently picks out his notebook. Go ahead then, rock her world, he thinks. I'll compose some notes.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
You're part Simonese. Oh, it means our meeting couldn't have been mere chance. The hand of fate guides us. But I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't allow any collateral damage to hit us. If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
You have? The entity takes the form of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she must be connected to the curse ever since I first saw her. Did you know that she lives inside the chimney? Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains. God knows what she's doing there. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the key to the warded door behind the curtains. Take it. Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse. What you discover in there.
Unbelievable darkness and ruin.
Okay, but please, only a few questions.
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she nudges her glasses. You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Only an echo. No one is there. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room.
What is this place? I think you're right, though it looks like no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us. Don't forget to take it out of your bag before we move on.
An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Sounds good.
A barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here. Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same slipstream logo. It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other. That's a good question. Reality is ruthless. Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic. Translucent welkins with organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. One of the welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Tworg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with welkin, green welkin, dread welkin, and the high welkin to rule them all.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little welkin creatures. Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game. This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real. Political commentary. That one has a great beard, too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. Minimi stands for a mini-meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. the board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pesantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Someone very important. The leader of a massive on-air game built by these people. A conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside. We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling, disconnected. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Like a smooth drawer, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. That was a question. Have you inserted it into the core? Good. Please repeat the password. No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still, no. I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder for trace accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to these filaments.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station. I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios. Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident. Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. Nothing happens. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Hobocop. Technically, you wouldn't be a cop anymore, but a hobo. That would mean game over for the cop chapter of your adventures. But who knows where the hobo part takes you? To the bar? The old L'Assommoir? To the pier or the sewers? To Le Royaume, where for 300 years they interred the dead. You could plunder royalist crypts for long-forgotten triple malt bourbon, then fight the Aramakan beast that lurks the bottommost sepulchres. The secrets of the city are all yours at last.
Okay, what do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? Yes, that is the question. It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games, only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry. But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an interisolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
His fascination has swept aside other concerns for the moment. He's a little hooked.
Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... It's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost and the bear's eyes are glowing red. The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge. Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you. From a glossy cellophane wrapper, it looks nothing like the fridge. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Seems like an old bunker from the Revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye, a bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find.